Everyone watching tonight has one thing in common. We all make purchasing decisions on an almost daily basis, which means we could all use some common sense information about the ins and outs of buying. And to help, I've called on a couple of local experts. Up first is Becca Godsey from the local marketing firm Mostly Serious. My question, how does the emphasis on, quote, buying local apply across products?
So it depends on how readily available something is as well. So if I'm looking for eggs, it's easy for me to get it local. The price really isn't that much different. It feels good too. It aligns with my values. The price isn't that much of a big deal. Easy enough. If it's something like pineapples, well, my sense of locality is like, well, as long as it's from the U.S., I'm good.
Next, if local is the key, what about the big box stores in town? How do they fit into this local push?
Well, the big box stores, it depends on which big box store. They all have very different strategies. A lot of them try to provide community support to get that sense of localness, because localness can be, being involved in the community. It can be just distance, like that's my grocery store right around the corner. It doesn't matter which brand it might be on that end. So one, either they're trying to get into more neighborhoods and doing smaller like stores to feel like they're part of the community. They're supporting communities more, offering more charity support, aligning with values. They're also valuing that in their employees that they're hiring, people who are going to be involved in the community, represent, and looking at hiring more experts within those sub areas.
More and more, the divide isn't between local and big box brick and mortar stores, but in-person versus online shopping. In 2016, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in its Wayfair case that states can tax out-of-state sales, opening a bonanza of sales tax opportunities. So how does this impact Springfield? Well, I asked City Finance Director David Holtman for his perspective.
The city does have a use tax. So on internet sales, we do receive a use tax for that, which is similar to a sales tax. Our use tax has picked up over the years and is becoming a larger component of our total sales tax collections. But there are still a lot of those internet sales that are not taxed that the city is missing out on those revenues.
So I'm assuming you're tracking that closely.
We track it very closely. I mean, that is something that we even identify at the vendor level, to make sure a significant variance hasn't occurred.
And is it the same sales tax that everybody pays?
It is the exact same, 2.125. And when we put that in place, only the city of Springfield has that. Greene County does not, unfortunately. So when we put it in place, the voters approved that half of that would go to the general fund and the other half would go to our transportation fund. So half of the 2.125 goes into general activities and then the rest goes into transportation.
So Becca, is it always best to be local in what you buy?
So local should never be the only thing you do. We mentioned eggs before. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all your eggs in the local basket. Local basket, and for any brand, where a specialty business can break apart is telling its story. They can humanize it in a way that a big box can't. You're here in the community, you're physically there, you have a face to it. The owner, you know them, they're involved in the chamber, they go to events, their kids are in the school system, you know them, and you need to start telling that story in a sense of not just, yes, we're local, but here's how we're involved, here's how we're the experts, here's how our process works. Even if it is price, be open with it. Like, yes, we're more expensive, but here's why it's still worth it. Because consumers are going to discover that. They're doing their research, they'll look online, they'll check their Google reviews, they'll ask their friends on Facebook for recommendations. The consumer today is very smart. They'll even visit your store, get the information, and then compare you to online retailers. The important thing is to provide that information as well as you can. Tell your story, be involved. Don't just hope that they'll figure it out or just that you're here or that you're their neighbor and they'll purchase from you. You need to do the effort of saying, here's why this is going to be better for you.
But it's not just the stores doing the work. It's us, the consumers, making the best decisions for ourselves, our families, and our community. And over the next 2 days on Ozarks, Fox, and Color 10, we'll have more thoughts on the whole question of what to buy, local or not. And we'll be back after this.